Hello, fellow unravelers, and welcome to Unravel. This is a space for reflecting on unraveling from mind/ego, integrating shadow, and cultivating deeper self-awareness. If you are new to the space, then welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you've been hanging with me for a bit, then welcome back. Before we open up, there is just an air of distraction. I'll say that. There's something about distraction. I should actually write that down, because these things kind of tend to show up later. So there's some type of frequency of being distracted or distraction. The theme for the last couple of weeks has been noise. But yeah, I'll just bring attention to that and then we will carry on. So this is the part of this video where we kind of just take some space for ourselves and really just tune into the now moment. And we bring in a bit of somatic practice in order to really slow down and tune into what is happening internally, whether that's mentally, emotionally, physically, or otherwise. So I'm just going to shut the eyes down because there's this sort of energy of distraction. I'm going to shut the eyes down just so that I can just soften the senses a bit. And if you're able to, just bringing awareness to the breath. There's no real need to fix it necessarily. It's just being attentive to what is current. And so if we can do things like being aware of our breath and slowing the breath down and doing these practices or taking moments like this often, we're allowing and inviting more slowness in. We're inviting and allowing more space. So I'm also just noticing the body is leaning forward. And that's okay. I don't feel there's any need to necessarily fix that right now. It's just presencing what is happening in the moment. So if you can, just tracking through your own body or the body, again, without the need to fix anything, it's just about bringing awareness to what is now. And if you do need to fix anything, if there is a bit of discomfort, then by all means, take this time to settle in, to adjust yourself, to grab water if you need to go to the toilet. Really tuning into what the body is asking for right now. Let's take one more deep breath in through the nose and deep breath out. And as you do that exhalation, just softening a little more. And if you've got your eyes closed, you can slowly open them in your own time. And just allowing that readjustment before you're bringing your attention back to the screen. So, as I said before, welcome. And yeah, there is that energy of distraction. However that plays out for you whenever you see this video is going to look and feel different, and be different, I should say. So I'm just going to pull out some cards and kind of just go with the flow, which is what's being done here over the last several videos. So just going to tune into kind of what's going to be pulled, or what card deck is going to be used. Yeah, there's definitely this energy also of confusion, of like, or indecisiveness, maybe there's a lot of, as I said, this theme of noise has been prevalent over the last several weeks, so I'm just presencing that as well, like this internal noise, if not external. I'm feeling strongly at the moment it's internal. So I'm just going to be with that for a moment before the deck or the cards come out. Alright, so I'll just get started with a deck and see how we go, and see what else wants to be kind of used. So what wants to be reflected on today? I keep seeing the ceiling, something about ceiling, whether that's sealing something, like closing something, or the ceiling, the roof. I might use a cloth just to drown out some of these sounds on the table, even though these cloths annoy the shite out of me, because they keep shifting about. But yeah, there's something about either ceiling or ceiling. Let's see what comes out later. Perhaps closing the door on something. But as I was saying, yeah, I keep seeing the, is it Muladhara card, which is the root chakra. Red has also been, the color red has also been a bit prevalent of late. Okay. So that's to do with stability. So I've had some cards come out already. Svadhyaya, Samadhi, interesting, and Kundalini. So I'm not quite sure what this one is, so I will read on that. And it has all come out in the upright, which is what we want. Okay. So let's see. Yeah, so this is about self-study, about self-attention, which is what I was kind of talking about a little bit before. This is about studying the self, like who we really are at the core. I don't want to read the whole thing, but I will read the last paragraph. Okay. There are cosmoses in your consciousness you have yet to venture into that have more beauty than any artwork, more mystery than your favorite thriller, more magnificence than all earthly creations. However, the passport required to reach this these vistas is stillness. Through withdrawing from external stimuli, you can move into true stimulus, the world inside and beyond you. So, I mean, I didn't even see the book on the front of the card. Self-study is really paying attention to the now moment, to presence, to self, to who we really are at the core. And the interesting thing is it's come out with the Samadhi card, and it's come out with the Kundalini card. So when they talk about Kundalini, it's that primal inner energy that kind of starts from the base of the spine and moves in this like snake-like pattern. We're talking about energetics here. And then Samadhi being awareness, bliss, which can only be reached when you are doing self-inquiry. So it seems like there's whoever's watching this, whoever's drawn to this, there's this energy of or expression of doing self-study, like and if you're not doing self-inquiry, you're doing some type of personal development or self-development or spiritual development, like really trying to get to the core of who you are, perhaps stepping into, you know, either spiritual work, or if you're religious, really paying attention to or feeling through what divinity, what consciousness, what self-awareness looks like for you. And there is a need to stay consistent with this in general, especially and despite the noise, because that was said in the card. But as I said before, there was this distraction. So it's about really staying the path, really staying true to what that looks like for you. It's going to look different for everybody. Not everybody is going to be doing or looking into self-inquiry, and that is okay. You know, whatever is in your path, as in what, how does this want to be said? However the path appears to you, as in, you know, whether your familiarity is religion or faith or spirituality or Buddhism or Hinduism, whatever the case may be, whatever that looks like for you, there's a need to stay consistent with it, especially if it's something brand new to you, especially if it is a almost new path that you've chosen. We do have Dharana at the bottom of the deck as well, and I feel like that is also speaking to mental activity, but I will read that. This is one of my favorite decks, but I don't pull all the cards all the time, obviously. Yeah, so it's about focus. So this is single focus concentration. So not really surprised that this has come out with self-study and with Samadhi. I don't usually get these cards together, so the fact that it's here is quite significant. Let's see. The birthing process of an idea takes deep commitment to usher it to life. Through single focus commitment, you'll be able to deepen your understanding of your goal and from its core, bring it to fruition. This is your time to say no to everything that is not related to your Dharma, which is purpose. Practice Dharana and focus on what it is you came on earth to do. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with everything that's said there, because yeah, I don't feel like I need to explain that for the purpose of this video. But you know, sometimes when we're thinking of Dharma, or we're thinking of purpose, we tend to look outside of ourselves as if it's something that needs to happen outside. Like our purpose is to do such and such. Our purpose is to be a teacher. Our purpose is to be, a person of the law. Our purpose is to remember who we are. That is our purpose, our sole purpose. However, due to mind, due to ego, and however that is played out in the world, that has now become externalized as if it's something that we have to do outside of ourselves. It is self-work, it is self-attention, it is self-study. That is our purpose, is to bring awareness and attention to self, not ourselves as in the person, the body, to self, to consciousness, to God, if you will, source, however you phrase that. I keep pulling this book. I might as well just leave it out, but let's talk about, I'll give you a little bit of what samadhi is. Advanced state of meditation and absorption in the self. Have you noticed the signs of spiritual progress? Your daily practice has brought you to a place of stillness, and it is here where you experience samadhi, the joining of all aspects in your being, physical, spiritual, mental, and emotional. Samadhi is the deepest level of awareness when you experience supreme bliss, consciousness, and enlightenment. I'll leave it there because then it starts going into concept, but see if I can reach. I have all the spiritual texts up here, so I'm not going to pull it down, but this is talking to being in that state of awareness where you're not the doer. I don't know if that's going to make sense to people, but what this is really speaking to is really stepping into a space. And I'm just noticing that distraction again. So it's being aware of what those patterns of distraction are as you're on this journey. Because the more you unravel from concept, the more you unravel from the bondage of whatever it is that you're attached to, the ego is going to come out, the mind is going to come out, and it's kind of like a trickster. So it'll start playing these little tricks to make you think certain things that are not true. It'll start trying to distract you, like I'm being distracted right now. So in moments like these, when you're feeling that distraction happening, really just take a step back, slow down, and be with it. I don't feel like there's anything necessarily that you need to do apart from become aware of the distraction itself and your what's that word? I'm hearing the word activity, but that's not feeling right. It's like what's happening when that distraction arises, like what is happening perhaps from a mental perspective, from an emotional, physical, spiritual perspective. How are we expressing our awareness of that, if that makes sense? So for example, I'm hearing a lot of things outside because my kid's out there, and I'm just becoming aware of like this minor agitation because I have asked her to, just respectfully allow mom to sit here and be with you all. So it's not like this anger and aggression. It's very minute agitation within the body. And so I'm bringing attention to that and inquiring into who is the person that is feeling the agitation. And allowing it just to kind of dissipate, allowing it just to move through, as opposed to being reactive and going, I'm gonna go and tell her off and turn this off and rah rah rah. If that's the case, if it gets to a point where I need to do that, that's fine. But in this moment where that it's not causing too much of a distraction per se, then yeah, you just be with it. So that might look different, that will look different for everybody, right? Like our immediate reaction to things that distract us or like bring about some type of internal activity, whether it's mental or physical, is to react immediately. So this is also what the self-study is about, is to allow yourself to take a step back and really just be with that. I don't know if any of this is making any kind of sense at all. But if it is, then awesome. There's also no need to explain all that either. But my attention is being brought to this Kundalini card. And if you look closely, you'll see that figure 8 in the form. So yeah, they speak to Kundalini as if it's like this this snake-like energy that moves through the body, and having experienced that on a bodily level, it is quite extraordinary. And a lot of people will kind of liken it to an awakening of sorts. So there may be, for whoever's watching this, possibly these experiences that you might not be able to explain to people necessarily, or even put into verbiage, because it's like, I know what these cards mean. Why am I referring to the book? Or I have the basic gist of what some of them are, but yeah, it's like there's no ability to explain it. And there's also a need to say sometimes things don't have to be explained. Like, not every experience needs to be expressed, so these experiences that that the body, I should say, not me, not I, the body has experienced, I hadn't been able to explain to anybody. All that was felt was there's this energy like moving from the base, from the root chakra. It's moving all the way up through the body, through the crown chakra, right? But trying to explain that to people, they'll think you're mad, like trying to explain that, there were times where the body would just move on its own and there was no like I wasn't controlling that. It was just happening by itself. Like trying to express that to people, I just stopped doing it because it was too difficult, and not even the mind could try to make sense of it. And even trying to explain it now is quite challenging. So there may be, as you're as you're going through whatever this is that you're going through, whether that is, a spiritual awakening, whether that is some type of enlightening experience where the veil is being lifted, there might not be a ability to express this to people. And there's a need to say that that is okay. That is so okay. There are people who are experiencing this. And just to trust that what is happening, there's that saying, God doesn't give you things that you can't handle. And, not everybody would agree with that sentiment, but there's a understanding that what we're going through, what we will go through, is what how does this want to be explained? It's going to happen anyway, whether we like it or not. The whole, I guess the point of even mentioning it is to say that these are all being brought into our lives, whether we're manifesting it unconsciously with the thoughts or our words or not. These are here to teach us, to help us to remember. So yeah, not everybody is going to understand your experience, and there's just this need to share that doesn't mean that it's valid. That doesn't mean that you're not experiencing it, whether that is on the level of the body or the level of the mind. And there are some people that are really surpassing all of that, and when you get to that stage of awareness, there is no need to express it because that's coming from ego. Ugh, this is very, very interesting. Like, I don't know if if people are going to relate to this, if it's going to make any sense. But there's something about energy shifting, movement of energy. That is what Kundalini is. It's the shifting of energy, the shifting of consciousness. Usually starting from the base, moving all the way up. And it's some type of, I wish I could explain what it feels like when that happens on a physical level, on the level of the body, I should say. But it really is like this energy just kind of moving in this figure eight, and then I do find it fascinating that these cards are out here. Not even sure what, like, so yeah, it's like the ego wants to try to make sense of this. The ego wants to try to explain this on the level of the mind, and that's just not possible. So I'm going to put the card in front of the screen and allow you to kind of feel into the imagery, into the word, and allow you to kind of have that experience of that vision, that visionary experience yourself, so that you can find or feel into the impressions yourself, as opposed to me telling you what they mean. Because we all have a different perception, right? We all have different, we all perceive things differently. So how one person perceives things by just understanding it on a mental level. Others perceive things and interpret information through the body, right? And that is just a personal, it's just what is happening in this experience, in this form right now, is body awareness. Yeah, I'm really not sure if this is going to make sense to people. And there's like the ego is here going, just stop talking, shut the camera off, you're done for the day. Which is fascinating, because I'm just going to sit with that energy for a while. Because I know it feels like this mind, this, you know, this mental activity. So yeah, there could be, as you're going through this process, as you're going through this unraveling, as you're going through this, through the layers, and not on an outward level, on an inward level, as you're detaching from a lot of these concepts, the mind is going to come in and distract the shit out of you. I can speak to that, to the experience of that happening. Is like, and it feels like, and the last video I recorded was actually talking about this a little bit, because it feels like this back and forth kind of energy of, but in this context it's slightly different, but the themes have been carrying through of, you know, one step forward, two steps back kind of feeling of, yep, you're on this journey and you feel like you're there's a need to say that this is not a destination. This is an unraveling. It is a remembering. It's a remembrance. So I keep doing this, but it's really this way. And I'm just moving my hands. If you're listening to this on the podcast, moving my hands forward and back. So it's like, you'll come to a place where things are starting to become clearer. There's less thought, and there's more clarity. However, then the distraction comes in and it's like, oh, I'm back here again. So yeah, just be mindful of this back and forth energy, and not trying to cut down that process or disempower yourself by stopping it. It's about just being with everything that is currently happening. I'm pretty sure people are, you know what, I'm not even going to project that. It is what it is. Whatever is said here is said in the now moment. So it's either understood or it's not. But there is definitely some kind of transformation, some kind of shift happening, and it's more from a awareness perspective. It's more from a spiritual, if you want to use that word, perspective. It is not something you can necessarily explain to people. There's a difficulty in trying to express it right now, actually. So yeah. All right, what else do we want to use? Interesting. Oh, I didn't even. Oh, okay. I hadn't even put the last cards back. So I'm just going to pull those up now. Yep, so attention is being drawn, or drawn to the last video. So once that's up, I will put that in the description box. Because that might make sense, going from that to this. That was also about noise. And I believe there was actual physical noise. Just seeing the jealousy card here. So, you know, whether that is external to you, whether that's people around you, whether that's just mental. I do feel like when we shift, when shifts happen and you're operating in a different way, and there's more like this, I'm just seeing the word wisdom, but it's not like mental knowledge, it's not knowledge of the mind, it's just self-awareness or awareness of self. When that happens, things do start to fall away, and whether that happens over a long period of time or whether it happens like quick smart, that will obviously happen differently for different people. But when that does happen, things just naturally get released from your life. So I feel like that is a process that's been happening for a lot of people as well. Of just this natural letting go of. And sometimes it's not, just seeing the new moon card again. At the time of this reading, it is the 23rd of May, and I believe we are having a new moon on the 26th, which I think is Monday. And that card came out in the last read, so I will definitely put that in the description box so you can have a look at that. So did this card, the Nature Spirits card. So did this card. Oh my gosh. So all, where did that card go now? Where did I put that? So that one, that one, that one, all three of those came out in the last one. In this slot, Power came out. So I'm just showing you the cards and then I'll put it back in and get some clearer messages, but not even messages, just reflections. Power. That was in one of the previous videos as well, about the noise coming from power, from authority, I should say. Time came out too. This one keeps wanting to come out, new life. So with new moons come new life. And I don't know why I'm continuing to shuffle. So again, this came out in the last video where there's this shuffling of energy, or this stepping out into okay, I'm just going to take a pause here. Because it's like wanting to get ahead of itself, and there's just a need to pull back from whatever that is. Yeah, that card came out again. Nature Spirits. Also got spiritual cleansing. So yeah, so we've got the Nature Spirits card again. So that could be, you know, spending time in nature, stepping away from distraction. Spiritual cleansing is the same as well. So some may align with the practices, the world practices of, doing spiritual cleansing, which I feel is just bringing awareness to certain things, to thoughts, to processes, activities, patterns, behavior. But you could, if you wanted to, sage your house, or use Palo Santo. If that feels like something that you want to do, by all means, protect yourself. We've got this boundary card. Oh, okay. So we've got spiritual cleansing, bottom of the deck. We've got boundaries, and protection is right underneath that. So what was said before? A lot of noise, a lot of distraction. So if it's not internal, this might be outside of yourself, as if when you're moving in a new way, in a different way, people going like, yeah, what's up with Candace? She seems like she's like from another world, or she's being really strange, she's being weird. Like those types of conversations might come up, but that's okay. Like you're in your element. You are in your element. Water being an element, I've got the water card if you're listening. And that is sensitivity, softness, flow, right? And yes, there are boundaries are needed when you're in that process. I'm not sure why I'm hearing water can be captured and manipulated. Why is the boundary card here? With your energy, being aware of this came out. I do love it when these themes kind of keep playing out, but it's like, what if people want to hear different messages? Or this is the ego. This is how the ego is distracting me right now, or distracting this flow right now of, oh, you need to, there needs to be this and there needs to be that and you need to do this. And no, usually sometimes I work from a spread, right? And that's not here right now, and that's totally okay. So whatever you're doing, right, when you're in a space of creativity, or whether you're working towards unraveling from the mind, or whether you're on a self-development, personal, spiritual journey, whatever it is, when you start shifting away from like concepts and stepping more into your own space and paying, when there's more self-attention, and when I say self, I don't mean the body, I'm talking about consciousness, God, source, however you want to phrase that. That will not be understood by people who are not in the same space. And that is okay. However, there are times where you may need to have boundaries as to what it is and what it is and isn't. I don't know if this is going to make sense. I'm just going to say it is and isn't that you will partake of, what you will consume even. So right now at the time of the reading, there's a lot going on in the world, like massive world global distractions, right? And there's awareness that a lot of people will be, watching YouTube videos, going on social media, reading about all the stuff that's happening, because it's captivating. It's like, what the hell is happening? But there's a need to say, be aware of how much of that stuff you actually do consume, because I do feel, and I've said this in a previous video, I can't remember which one, these are all distractions. These are distractions that are distracting you from remembering, from coming home to yourself. And if that's not what's happening on a global scale, that is happening within your own world, i.e. needing boundaries and needing to protect yourself from the heaviness, because what that is really worldly shit, right? It's world stuff. It's concepts, it's conceptual ideologies. So yes, be in a place of flow. Express yourself in surrendering more to whatever this is that is happening. But be vigilant. Be vigilant. Even with what I'm saying right now, you know, feel into what that looks like or feels like for you to be vigilant, to put down boundaries, to really be aware of where your energy is right now. Or, you know, on a conceptual level, like how you're spending your time, who you're spending your time with. And there's some release happening right now. So it's like some of these things, and you'll be able to discern that for yourself if you're going through this process. Some of these things may need to dissipate. And I don't feel like, if you're in this process, I don't feel like you'll have to do much. All that's required is just self-attention, just focusing on self, focusing on your path, your journey, your moving closer to God, if you will, if you want to say it that way. Connecting more to self. Let's pull some tarot. Why not, hey? Yeah, mate. Yeah, so there's some definite energy. There's definite like tugging of energy. Now, what is going on with the shuffling today? I keep seeing the Four of Pentacles. That did come out in the last video as well. So being aware of what it is that you're holding on to, especially if it's something that is not conducive to this journey. Let's get two more. Yeah, especially if it's not reciprocal type of energy, with the Six of Pentacles in the Resistance. And there's that figure 8 again. So that figure 8 is well, on its side it's the infinity symbol, but to me that means unity. We've got death and rebirth, but it's showing up in the reverse. So there's some type of resistance here. And Seven of Swords. That's fascinating because the Truth card was at one of those cards that was at the bottom. Where is it? The Truth card. And Seven of Swords can talk about things that are not necessarily deceptive, but there's some type of trickster, sneaky energy. Some people might relate to it as like thievery, but this could talk to those distractions. Let's use another deck and get some clarity on these. Yeah, what is going on with the shuffling today? Right, clarify Six of Pentacles. Justice. So, something about equal give and take. So whatever is not feeling like equal give and take in terms of reciprocation, yeah, I feel like whatever that is speaking to is, because it's come out under the self-study card, it's the more you focus on self, the more this will occur, this type of energy will occur without having to do diddly squat. As in, what's that saying? Everything will work out on its own, or like things will work itself out. Essentially, things will work itself out the more attention you focus within. Anything else in regards to that? Yeah, and because that Four of Pentacles came out as well, just be mindful as well of, I mean, not saying don't speak to people about this or don't express this. Just be mindful of who it's being expressed to, because with Four of Pentacles here, Six of Pentacles in reverse, there is that energy of like wanting to keep it to yourself. It's like there's a knowing. You'll know who it is that you can actually speak to or share this with. You'll know. You will absolutely know. Whether that is like a what do you call it? Like a knowing, a full knowing, like clairsentient, if you will. What's that, claircognizant? Might be claircognizant. Just knowing. There's just a knowing, or it'll be felt. you'll just be able to tell that, and that timing card did come out. So, you know, sometimes we're going through the same things, but we're going through it at different times. So there might, you know, some people might not be ready for what you're wanting to express, or there's just no understanding. Yeah, and let's get some clarity on this death and rebirth. So, you know, this is also about, you know, clinging to things, maybe clinging to the past, maybe clinging to concepts that are super familiar and feel comfortable, where it's landing under samadhi is how, and spiritual cleansing. So there's this death and rebirth can be quite a forceful type of energy sometimes, whereas it's like, I mean, there's no tower card, but it can be quite a harsh release. But because it's shown up in the reverse, there is some kind of I don't know why I'm hearing the word rebuttal. Perhaps this is an internal dialogue. Okay, let's get some clarity. Death and rebirth. Yeah, Two of Pentacles reversed. It's like this weighing up. Yeah, this harmony, if you will. Like maybe there are attachments to too many things, too many ideas, too many concepts. There's definitely a need to really step back and slow down. Yeah, is it just an energy of being out of balance? And this was also part of the distraction, right? Like feeling like there's so much going on. This is fascinating. And I was just talking to my best friend who's Scorpio. So death and rebirth, Scorpio energy. Is it Scorpio energy or is it Pluto? One of the two. But it always reminds me of Scorpio. I forget. Hold on. I can clear that up for you in a minute. Where is this book? Ah, it is Scorpio. Cool. Yeah, I was just talking to her about having too much things going on, too much it's like there's a definite need to slow down, maybe clear some things out. If it's not in a spiritual capacity, it's within a mental capacity, or a like releasing of, whether that's responsibilities, whether that is mindsets, behaviors, taking on too much. And to get to samadhi, there needs to be release, but there's some type of hanging on to whatever these things are that you're experiencing that is preventing you from getting to that space. It's like, yeah, no, I'm gonna have both of my ice cream cones. I'm not gonna let them go. And let's get some clarity on the Seven of Swords. Oh. Cannot make this up. Again, Death card in reverse. So this Death and Rebirth in the Light Seers Tarot, it's the Death card. And it's shown up in reverse if you're listening to this. And again, we've just had the Death card in reverse again. So there is some trickery happening here. I feel like it's a lot, very much mental, because it's the Seven of Swords we're dealing with. It's falling under the Seven of Swords, but it could also be emotional, having been under the water card. So really being aware of the intentions of others. Yeah, because Seven of Swords can speak to deception or betrayal, but because it's with the Death card in reverse, this might speak to energies that there may be an awareness of this with the Water card here as well. There may be awareness of this, but it's like we're just letting it slip under the radar. So whether this is patterns or mental, I would say for a lot it's mental. It's like the sneaky ego coming in, trying to divert you from being in the space of you know, awakening, finding more about who you are. Let me just read a little bit of the Kundalini. So primordial cosmic energy, serpent power. Kundalini is rising. The serpent-like energy that exists in the base of your spine. The Muladhara chakra has awoken. Like we said, that the card came out at the start, the root chakra. You may have noticed that you feel more spiritually aware than ever before. You are more sensitive to energies and quickly manifest your thoughts. Your psychic abilities, that card came out too, are rising, and you feel the flow of energy that vibrates in every being. Your heart is full of a deep compassion and desire to serve others, and you have a keen awareness of your purpose. This is Kundalini rising. Stay grounded in your process. Connect to nature. That card came out. Exercise, journal, practice yoga. You know, whatever you resonate with. Through grounding, you'll be able to experience a beautiful, blissful Kundalini awakening that takes you exactly where you're meant to be. So there's also a need to say that not everyone is going to experience it in that way, like that way that I explained before, that physical sense. We're all different. We're going to perceive things differently based on our vasanas or our tendencies or our karma. It's going to play out differently. But there is definitely a need to be aware of any kind of disturbances, whether that be mental or external, that's trying to shift you, and whether that's your own, like your own self-sabotage. I feel like I can definitely speak to this as well. It's like there's a knowing of there's a knowing of the path, there's a knowing of the journey, there's a knowing of what has to be done, but there's still this aversion to doing it, because either we're so used to, where's that card? This one. We're so used to the way things are, or have been, or we're so ingrained with the beliefs and the concepts of this projected idea that we see in front of us, that kind of cutting that loose or disembarking from that process is really, really challenging. So I feel, you know, I'm right there with you. I can definitely say that this is not an easy process, but be very, very vigilant throughout, and stay the course, because at the end of it is this samadhi, this supreme bliss. And that's not, people think it's this outwardly expression and this outwardly manifestation. It's an inner bliss. I mean, imagine, and I just feel the excitement. Imagine like things happening, right? Things are going to happen. This is what they speak about. Things happen without us really inputting into it. Like things are going to happen in our lives that we have absolutely no control of. That's just it. Things are going to happen. We have no control of it. It is what it is. However, imagine being in a space where there are no thoughts about it. Like there's no mental fuckery going on about how to react to it or how to respond to it or what to do about it even. There's just this inner calm, this inner bliss. That is samadhi. Just not being mentally, emotionally, physically perturbed by things that are going to happen anyway. There's clarity about what needs to be done, or there's just clarity, simple and plain. There's been snippets we have experienced this. I know someone that knows exactly what I'm speaking to here, who experiences this on a daily, and there are lots of other people. Books, as I said, are all up here. If you want to know more about that, let me know. Put it in the comments, and I'll put the books down there for you. But essentially, this is talking about, I'm going to say it wrong, Advaita Vedanta, non-inquiry process. So yeah, there's this need to explain all that, and just knowing that it doesn't need to explain, because those that understand it, or you might not mentally understand it, and you don't need to. It's just this knowing of, I know what you mean. Okay, what else? We did have that one want to be used, so I will pull some final cards. I'm still curious about this sealing thing. Maybe I could get a card on that. What is the sealing? I'm hearing ego death, which came out twice, by the way, the death card. So we've got Aries, Act, and Alliance, Conjunction. Let's get one more. Bottom of the deck was Community, 11th house. Let's get another card on the Act. couple of cards. Vision, Neptune, activate, solar flares. Here it is again, Scorpio, investigate. That's a lot of cards. Yeah, being very mindful of anything that is being activated when specifically dealing with other people. As you're going through this process, there's a need to be very aware of reactivity, especially if you're expressing yourself to people. And them not necessarily understanding where you're coming from, and perhaps even judging, or I don't know, that jealousy card did come out a couple of times before, and I don't feel like it's necessarily jealousy in this context, although it could be, because, you know, when we're in a space of just peace, like calm, and I'm seeing 111 on the timer. When we're in a space of just calm, that disturbs people sometimes. Like, they don't necessarily like that things just don't bother us anymore. So yeah, be aware of and investigate any thoughts around reactivity, activation within a community or connection, or even who you are aligning yourself with, who you're forming alliances with, if you want to say it that way. And Scorpio, being a water sign, has now come out obviously 3 times, and so has the water card. Really, the more you're in this space of unraveling, the more perceptive you'll become. Like, things will just become so clear. So just be mindful of it's almost like, and I don't know why I'm getting the word radio and I'm seeing a radio, and then hearing the word frequency. It's like when you're in this receptive frequency, or when you're in this process, it's like that dial gets turned, and it becomes like the ability to perceive that channel. I'm just going to use these phrases because this is what's coming out. The ability to receive that channel clearly will get clearer and clearer and clearer. So yeah, just be aware of anything and everything that comes up in spaces where you're talking to and dealing with other people. Your receptivity, your sensitivity is increasing as you're going on this journey. So just be super aware, super aware. And when you do act, as you're going on this process, when you are in a when you allow for more space, you do act from aspect of self, Aries energy. You do act and you are able to lead from a very empowered space. These two did come out in the reverse. I'm talking about the Alliance and the Aries card. So do be mindful of connections and alliances with people who may or may not have ulterior motives and may be the distraction that you do not need right now. Because we had something, that jealousy card. So yeah, just being aware of, you know, for some it might actually be an actual Aries. For some there may be some Scorpio involved. But we're not talking about these archetypes. We're just talking about the qualities, of the archetype, if that makes sense. So whether that is in alignment with, you know, some type of authority figure, or, you know, a management, like if you're this is in regards to a management team, just people outside of you in general. Just be very vigilant, because we have the vision card here as well, Neptune. But I will read a little bit about that before we finish off, because I feel like Neptune is moving far out. I don't even know the placements right now, but there is some significance with Neptune. Let's see. Because Neptune invokes both intuition and imagination, it can blur the boundaries between the two. It's all too easy to believe what you want or what you are afraid of, or what you are afraid of is in fact reality, which can make it easy for others to manipulate you by playing to your hopes and fears. Take each step with care. Working with Neptune is like walking in the fog. You can see the present moment clearly. It's just the future and the past that get lost in hopes and fears. So that is just an acknowledgement of being in the here and the now, because that's all we know. If we aren't able to properly see clearly, for example, as we're traveling on this journey of, you know, stepping into remembering who we are, or an awakened state, or an enlightened, however you want to refer to that, the clarity is in the here and the now, even if the rest doesn't make sense. So the more that we can tune into self, the more that will clear up naturally. I mean, it's here. There's a lot of water. Neptune also being about water, very so that's Pisces there, flowy, intuitive. So yeah, I feel like that is going to become, there are things that are very, if they have not already become clear, are becoming clearer. As I said, that radio is getting fine-tuned to that frequency. Do not let distractions and static and noise deter you from that, from that path, from your path, from a path. Still not clear on what the ceiling is. Ceiling. But that's okay. Not every message is a message. Like it just needs to be said, and that might actually resonate with, you know, someone watching. It might not resonate with the mind that is, you know, Candace's mind. Might not make sense here, but it might make sense to you. So if that is you, if that makes complete sense to you, either the word sealing, as in sealing an envelope, or the ceiling. Maybe those things can also be distractions, as in sealing contracts, or, you know, you're actual sealing your roof. Who knows? But I will leave it there, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. Let me know if this resonated. If it did, do feel free to share and subscribe, or whatever you want to do. Yeah, I will leave it there. Thank you for being here. Take care of yourselves. Be vigilant. Stay vigilant. And I'll catch up with you in the next video. Bye.